So what are some things that I love about living in Japan, and especially in the countryside? For number one, I love the peace and quiet. When I'm in a city, you know, it becomes very loud, right? With all the cars and the people and there's a lot of noise that's happening, right? A lot of events are happening all around us, a lot of situations and stuff happening around us when I'm in a city. But whereas when you're in the countryside, not a lot goes on. Not a lot. A lot. It's very peace and quiet, and you actually have to search and venture out to those events if there are any in the countryside, you know. And those events that happen in the countryside of Japan are very unique, and some of them are very they're just catered towards the community of the area which you're in. So it's a really, really amazing opportunity to be able to live in the countryside of Japan because of that. And another reason why I love being here is the nature. There are so many beautiful mountains to climb in Japan. Mount Fuji, Yarigatake, Ishizuchi, just to name a few. And a lot of them are just like very easily accessible. They're not too difficult. The trails are very well maintained. There's a lot of signs. The hikers that you meet are very, very friendly as well. You know, everyone says konnichiwa, konnichiwa. Everyone acknowledges you. And just the flowers and the animals that you may potentially see, like monkeys or deers, and even like pheasants and stuff, is breathtaking. But what I find to be the most breathtaking when I go hiking are the sunsets and the sunrises in Japan. They are so gorgeous, especially in the northern Japanese Alps located in Nagano. If you ever have the opportunity to go there and hike Yarigatake, especially in Kamikochi, and you're able to see the sunset, it is like the entire sky is covered in purple and orange, and I've never ever seen anything like that before. It was absolutely amazing, and that's just the beauty of Japan, man. And Japan's nature has its own magic. It's hard to explain unless you actually come here and experience it yourself, but there is a certain essence to the being in the nature of Japan that is just it's remarkable, and it's difficult to describe in words. But what I can say is just beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So another reason why I love being in Japan is how cute the Japanese kids are. You know, a lot of them are just so simple-minded. They're always like joyful. They're kind. They have mannerism. And did I mention they were just cute? Yeah, the kids are just really cute, especially the elementary school kids. They're just really adorable. They're just really likable, and they really gain fun and enjoyment out of the little things. For example, if they love rock, paper, scissors. If you ever come to Japan and you meet a little kid, he would love to play rock, paper, scissors with you. They're just very they're just lovable kids, and that's something that I really like about the Japanese community, is that they've been taught how to behave, how to be independent at a very, very young age. A lot of these kids walk to school by themselves. You know, a lot of these kids know when to be quiet. They know when to be disciplined. You know, they know all these things already because they've been taught this, and they see it from their teachers, they see it from their parents, they see it from the other kids around them. A lot of them are able to even resolve conflict by themselves. A lot of them are able to work in a team together. You know, a lot of them at the age of 6 or 7 years old, they're able to do all these things, right? And a lot of them are very generous. A lot of them are very grateful. When you give them a little gift, when you draw something for them, they really accept it with love. And a lot of them just give you things. Maybe it's just it's a worldwide phenomenon for little kids. But what I've seen with Japanese kids, they just like love to draw things and just give you stuff. And you can really learn to appreciate that. And, you know, you learn a lot from these kids. It's amazing. Another thing that I really, really like about Japan is just how clean and how everything has a high attention to detail. When you go to a garden, a Japanese garden, everything is in pristine condition. The hedges are perfect. There's no garbage anywhere. The design of the ground, the way the gravel is set on the ground, all the marble, the rocks, it's just very symmetrical. Everything's just so symmetrical. And for someone, if you have OCD and you go to these places, these Japanese gardens, you would be so satisfied to see these things. You'd be so satisfied, like, wow, not one thing is out of place. Not one stick or hedge is out of place. Not one leaf is out there looking weird. You know, everything is just in pristine condition and it's maintained like that. And that's something that I've really come to love about Japan, is just like their attention to detail with everything that they do. Another thing that I love about Japan is their sense of community. You know, when you go to like a village in Japan, or when you go to like some sort of volunteer activity, like you want to do kendo or you want to pick up garbage, there is a strong, tight-knit sense of community. Everyone works together to achieve a goal. You know, everyone supports each other. Everyone helps each other too. That's what I've noticed. Japanese people are so helpful, right? Whenever you ask them for help, even as a foreigner, if you ever ask them for help, they would go out of their way to show you where a place is. They would go out of their way to you know, to teach you something. And they're very patient too. I find that Japanese people are very patient as well, compared to people in the West that lose their patience within a second. Japanese people, they wait in line like patiently. Even kids, you know, they're, you know, a lot of them are very patient too for the most part. But, and I find that to be really, 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 like really good. You know, the sense of patience and the kindness and the community that Japanese people share amongst each other. And it's really great to to experience that. So another thing that I love about Japan is just how easily accessible places are. You take the Shinkansen, which is the bullet train, it'll take you from one part of Japan to the other easily. I drive a car in Japan, so all the signs are really well laid out. When I go on the freeways or the highways, it's, you know, for the most part, there's not a lot of traffic. And when I use Google Maps, it's pretty easy to navigate, obviously, because I'm using Google Maps. But the point is that there's always an option. Like, you can take a taxi, you can take a bus, like a coach bus from the countryside of Japan somewhere to one of the major cities like Osaka or Kyoto. You can take a coach bus. You can take a local train to go from one side to the other of the city. You can do all of these things, and you know, and that's what I love about Japan, is just how accessible everything is. Another thing that I love about Japan are its seasons. In winter, if you go to the same place every season, say if you go to this one park in Japan, right? Any park. If you go there in winter, if you go there in fall, if you go there in spring, if you go there in summer, it's different. It's different. It's different every time. You know, in the springtime, you'll see the cherry blossoms. In the wintertime, you'll see all the trees covered in snow. In the summertime, you're going to hear the cicada bugs. You're going to, you know, in the fall, you're going to see the different colors of the leaves. All of these things. You're going to see all that. And going back to the hiking thing, hiking mountains, you could go to the same mountain in Japan every season, and you'll always be in awe about how beautiful the scenery is every single time. You know, it's amazing. And that's one of the things I really love about Japan, is just like, it's beautiful every season. No matter where you are, it's just beautiful. Another thing that I love about Japan is that Japan has a solution for almost any problem. If you aren't able to pay, say if you go to a gas station, right, and you aren't able to pay for some reason, maybe you don't have cash, because Japan is still a cash-based society, right? They'll write down your license plate and they'll give you information about where the closest ATM is, you know, so you can go get that cash and pay them. If you go to a convenience store, you know, there's different things you can do there. You can send packages, you can, you know, delivery, you can send mail, you can receive mail there. You can do photocopying. You can buy tickets from a ticket machine for events that are happening in other places, like concerts or whatever. You can do all that in a convenience store. You can pay for your bills at a convenience store. If you forgot your umbrella and it's raining, say you're somewhere, some buses allow you to borrow an umbrella, right? And you can drop it off at the station where you get off, right? So Japan has all of these like solutions to like all of these like little problems, but when you really come to appreciate just how convenient it is, you know? Another thing that I love about Japan is that Japan has 16 national holidays throughout the year. That is a lot for, you know, for a country. Because in Canada, there's only about 10 or 11, I believe. But in Japan, they have Golden Week. You know, they have Christmas vacation. They have the New Year's Day is off. You know, they have all of these holidays that just come up. You know, and every month there is like at least 1 or 2 holidays every month, which is really great. You know, you can relax and travel Japan or spend time with your family or do whatever you want with those days. And that's what also I really love about Japan. Another thing that I love about Japan is the onsens, the hot springs. Japan has hot springs everywhere. It's very convenient. But actually going into one is the most relaxing feeling ever. And it relieves inflammation. If you have inflammation in your joints, it relieves that temporarily. You feel good mentally. You feel relaxed. It actually, I've noticed that I've been going to the onsen quite often. I go like once or twice a week. And every time I go afterwards, my skin feels smoother. You know, I used to have dandruff in my hair a lot, but my scalp just got a lot better. It just felt a lot, you know, I started getting dandruff less and less. There's a lot of like mental and physical benefits to going to hot springs in Japan. So if you ever do come here, I highly recommend you visit a hot spring. And most of the time you have to be completely butt naked, but it's something that you just get used to. Another thing that I really like about Japan is what was I gonna say? Oh yeah, just how healthy their food is. Some people would argue that Japanese food has a lot of sodium in it, but I can also say that Japan's food has more nutrition, a lot of nutritious stuff in it, you know, which kind of outweighs the sodium aspect of it, right? Japan's like meals are typically consist of a lot of vegetables, like sweet potato, carrots, you know, cucumbers, rice, obviously. But there's, you know, there's just a lot of meat, a lot of fish that Japanese people eat. Obviously, there's a lot of, you know, a lot of healthy alternatives for Japanese food, which is really good. Because when you eat, I notice when I eat sushi, even if I eat a lot of it, I don't feel heavy. I don't feel like bloated. I don't feel lethargic. I don't feel like I need to pass out from a food coma. You know, I still feel good. I feel energetic. I feel energy. And Japan's foods are like jam-packed with nutrients. They're just jam-packed with it. And I can see why Japanese people are so slim. A lot of them are very slim. Majority of them are very slim looking. It's because of the food that they eat. And another thing that I like about Japan is how serious most Japanese people take like staying active and exercising. A lot of Japanese people, they take that stuff very seriously. You know, even up until old age, a lot of them are involved in some sort of activity that involves movement, whether it's farming, you know, whether it's planting flowers or whatever, whether it's joining some sort of kendo club or running club or something. The Japanese people are always involved in some sort of physical activity, and I come to appreciate that a lot because, you know, health is wealth. Health is really important. Japanese people take their health very seriously for the most part. Another thing that I really like about Japan is how respectful Japanese people are. And we all know Japanese people are very polite in general. You know, they have high mannerism. But I also love the fact that they're so respectful to the point where they don't really push into your personal life. And they know when to back away. When they know that you don't want to talk too much about your personal life, the Japanese people respect that. You know? And, you know, Japanese people are very, they're non-confrontational in general, right? They don't want to, they try to avoid conflict as much as possible. So that goes hand in hand with, like, their sense of respect. They respect all cultures for the most part. They respect all religions, which is really good. You know, they respect your alone time, your privacy. You know, Japanese people also respect when you need to leave. They respect that. So, you know, if you're in a social outing with them and you need to leave at a certain point, a lot of the times they'll let you go. And I think it's just, I don't know how it is amongst like locals, Japanese amongst Japanese, but I feel like when foreigners are interacting with Japanese people, there is a high level of respect that you get, a high level of politeness, and you know, you feel very valued, you know, whenever you interact with a Japanese person. And I really come to appreciate that. And another thing that I really like about living in Japan is what else? What was I gonna say? I've been rambling so long for like 17 minutes, and I'm trying to think of another thing that I really love about Japan. Because there's a lot. There's a lot of stuff. And another thing I love about Japan is just how like curious Japanese people are. Like, they always want to learn some things from foreigners. You know, like, what's your country like? What do you guys eat? They're very inquisitive. They're always like curious to know about, you know, the things that you like, or they want to learn about other cultures. And it's really nice that they, you know, that it's like that. And I also think that I also like about Japan is just how safe of a country it is in general. That's something that I forgot to mention. But yeah, Japan is very safe. There's minimal crime, which is great. Coming from a city where crime is really high, living here is great because of that. And, you know, it gives you a really big sense of relief. And I think that's like one of the big reasons why like a lot of foreigners like want to live in Japan forever, is just because of the safety aspect of it. You know, Japan is overall a very, very safe country. You know, obviously, you know, no country is perfect. There is still crime that occurs in Japan regardless, you know, but I feel that it's a lot less and compared to other places, and that can be a make or break for people who want to live here. You know, that could be like the main reason why people, foreigners, want to come to Japan and live here permanently, just because of that single reason, is that it's so safe. And you know, it's safe from crime, but you got to remember that Japan also has a lot of different extreme weather conditions and natural disasters that can occur, right? A lot of earthquakes, you know, a lot of hurricanes and tsunamis and stuff like that. landslides can occur. But that can also be the fun of living in Japan. And I find that to be very, in a way, kind of enjoyable, because you never know what's going to happen. And like I said before, Japan always takes like safety very seriously. So the Japan always has some sort of precautionary measures in place. They always have some sort of way to deal with a potential disastrous situation if it were to ever occur here. Japan has prepared itself for that. You know, a lot of buildings are designed to take on an earthquake if it were to ever occur. You know, a lot of places have alerts. You know, we get a lot of times we get alerts on our phones about potential disasters or something that happened, or how to take precautionary measures against it. You know, a lot of it's really good that it's like that. You know, and Japan takes that very seriousseriously. Another thing I really love about Japan is, oh man, just the culture of Japan. You know, there's so much culture and history in Japan. A lot of places have been untouched. You know, a lot of castles that you can explore here. As I said before, a lot of festivals that only are unique to Japan and not anywhere else. And that is the adventure of being in Japan as a foreigner. You get to experience all these things if you go out and search for it. You know, if you're very keen on the culture of Japan, right? Anime culture, samurai culture, the tea ceremony culture, you know, any type of Japanese culture, right? If you're into martial arts, Japanese martial arts, if you are actually living in Japan, you need to experience these things. You need to go out and experience these things, because you don't know how long you have in Japan living here. You may be going back next year, you may be going back 2-3 years. This is an opportunity for you to experience all that stuff. You know, if you're in Japan, you need to experience the culture. Don't just stay confined in your own little bubble. You have to go out there and make your life more interesting in Japan. Make memories for yourself when you come here. You know? Try a new hobby. Try a new hobby that's only unique to Japan, like Kyudo, which is Japanese archery, or Kendo, as I said previously. Or go to a tea ceremony. Learn forest bathing. Do a forest bathing program with a tour guide. Go canyoneering. Visit a samurai museum. Learn about the samurais. You need to do all these things because you're living in a country where there's so much interesting and beautiful culture. And that's what I love about Japan, is that there's always something new to see. There's always a new place to explore. There's always something new and adventurous to check out. Every time I research a city, right? I look at what potential sightseeing options are there, and when I go there, I also create my own adventures. I meet new people, you know, I interact with different people. I visit maybe like a seaside, right? That's not really a sightseeing spot. Maybe it's near a sightseeing spot, but then it's like beautiful because you're experiencing that yourself. You may see a beautiful sunset on a mountain that may not be as famous, but you just discovered that mountain randomly on Google Maps while you were in the city. And then you're seeing a beautiful sunset. You may see a statue or something that is not a touristy thing, but you're experiencing that yourself. You saw it yourself. You're going to experience all these adventures only if you go out and seek it, if you're living in Japan. It's not going to come into your hand like that. It's not going to be given to you. You have to go out and create your own adventures. And that's why I'm saying like time is going by very fast. Like, life is short. So when you're living in Japan, you got to make the best of it. You really do. You know, if you only have weekends in Japan because you're working 5 days a week, plan something ahead of time. Plan a new city to visit, and I promise you, it'll keep you motivated. It'll give you a sense of excitement. You know, after the honeymoon phase of living in Japan, after 1 year, right? Everyone knows about that. Every foreigner knows about that. So you need to create excitement in Japan when you're here. You need to constantly keep that excitement high. And Japan has that. Japan has those opportunities for you, man. You just have to step outside of your apartment or your house and go out and get it. And yeah, so yeah. Another thing that I love about Japan, man, have I said everything I needed to say? Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. If I come up with other things, I'll make another video about it. See you.